Hey, welcome back. As our project winds down, all of our feedback is coming in, and we've completed all of our phases and activities. It's only appropriate that we close out our training series by learning how to close a project. So in this video, we're going to learn about report elements. We're also going to learn about macro reports. We'll talk about how we can export dashboards, and then finally we'll cover how to close a project. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the ways that we can get data out of Centercode is using custom reports. And these custom reports are built out of report elements. And these report elements leverage Centercode's data engine to visualize important information about your users, your feedback, and your projects. Think of report elements as a combination of our filters and views and our form elements. We build them out in very similar ways, and we have a lot of the same tools available to us. And the good news is if you know how to build out a view within either user views or feedback views, you also know how to build out a report element. So let's go ahead and check it out. So I'm here at the project level. We're going to go to management, go down to custom reports, and I'm just going to select new report. And from here, I'm going to start building out my first report element. So I need to choose a data source. So we'll go to issues. And then a lot like our forms, we're choosing which fields we actually want to view in this. So I'm going to select status and severity. These will be two of the data sets that I can select from. Of course, I can pull from all sorts of different data sets and data points here. Pretty much anything that enters into Centercode is tracked as a data point in our data engine. So if it's surveys, feedback that's being submitted, user profiles, user accounts, etc., all of that is available to you. So I've got my two fields right here. You can see I can also add a filter to this if I want to. So any of the pre-existing shared filters or custom filters that I've built out for feedback views or user views, I can use them right here. I'm going to leave it blank, no filter for now. From there, we pick a style. And depending on the kind of data you're displaying and the amount of data points you have included in this data element, you'll have a wide variety of choices for you. So here we've got, we have our stacked columns, we have stacked bars, stacked area charts, we can do multi-series data tables, we could do a file export, a data package, etc. So lots of options, lots of different ways that you can show your data. One of my favorites is stacked bars, so we'll use that for this example. And this is what our results look like right now. So you can see that on the y-axis, we have all of the different statuses. And then on our x-axis, we have all of the severities. I could change this order if I wanted to. So if I go up here and switch it so that severity is our first item. Now we have severity on the y-axis, and we have our different statuses on the x-axis. From here, I can customize these results. So I can show the data count on this. You can see it's going to show the number of items for each one. I could also order by rank. So now you can see that we have the highest amount at the top, and then it's starting to stream down to the bottom. I could reverse the result order. So now it's more pyramid. And one of the really cool things about our report elements here is that if I hover over an item, I'll actually get more data on that. So you can see that open for discussion and minor severity accounts for 36 items here. I go over here to need more information minor, that's 4 items, etc. So a really great way to visualize that data. You can also show percentages, include data points, lots of different ways that you can customize these. And you can actually even adjust the element size if you wanted to. So if you have a specific aspect ratio in mind or element size, you can definitely do that. So lots of customization options right here. Once you're done building out the element, you give it a name. You can also give it a subtitle. And then you have the option to save it to a new report, or you can add it to a pre-existing report. And you can see I've got all kinds of pre-existing reports right here. But we're going to create a new report. And I'm just going to hit submit. We're going to title this. I'll just title this 2023 report. And from here, I have the option to add another report element if I'd like. I can manage the access and data options. So, I want project managers to be able to view and distribute this. Observers can view it. And that's looking pretty good to me, actually. I can also add in emails right here for the email distribution list. So every time we export this report, it automatically gets emailed to a certain set of users or even people outside of your site. So if you have stakeholders who are not in Centercode for whatever reason, you could add them to the distribution list and they'll get that email. We can also change the interval here. So daily, weekly, monthly. If we say daily, it'll begin on a certain date from this project, from this email. And then we can also customize, if we're showing filters, if we're creating any kind of embed code. And then we can also attach the report to the email. We can attach a PDF and a spreadsheet. For me, I think I will remove the spreadsheet. I don't need it for this report. And then we go ahead and click submit. And that's going to go ahead and generate our report right there. So we're loading here. You're free to move on if you'd like. You can go do other things while the report's doing its thing. But there we are. There is our report element. And we've got all of our data right there. We can refresh it if we want to. Go ahead and just, in case anything has changed since the last time we refreshed this report, it's always good to refresh the report if you're about to send it out to stakeholders. And then we can also go here to interactive mode. We can modify this report. We can change all the elements that we had here. We can add a new report element if we want to. So if I want to go to issues, and then I can clone from an existing view if I want. So I could go here and say, hey, just give me that basic feedback view that we used earlier. You can see that it populates everything. And now we just have these three options available to us because it's more than, 3 or 4 data sets in here. So I'm just going to go with the spreadsheet list. You can see we've got our issues there. Scroll all the way down. And then depending on the different kind of data sets you have, you can also group and sort your results. So I could group by feature, and I could sort by impact score, descending, a lot like we did earlier with our feedback views. There we go. That's looking good. And then I can just save this to my report. There's our element name. I click submit. Takes us back to our interactive mode here. And I can also change the order of these report elements if I want to. So you can see how it's a very interesting combination of those filters and views and how our form engine works. And you've got lots of different report element options available to you. So I'll click submit one more time. It's going to reload that report. And then we should see our spreadsheet at the top and our graph at the bottom. There we are. And a lot like our forms, our user profiles, test platforms, just keep going through, keep adding those elements, remove them if you need to. And you are on your way to building a very solid report. Now let's go ahead and check out report management now. So I'll click on report management. This is what our report management screen looks like. You can see I've got a ton of different shared reports. I've got a private report here as well. And if I hover over this, it gives me a ton of different options, very similar to how we kind of edit content. So I can add a new element if I want to. I can modify this report. I can refresh it, export it to a PDF spreadsheet, export the full report. And if I don't need this report anymore, I can go ahead and archive it. Now we understand how to build out reports within Centercode. Let's go ahead and check out what a macro report is. So earlier I mentioned that our report elements are a lot like our form elements within Centercode. And one of the really cool things that you can do is you can take a form like a survey and actually create a report out of all of the form elements inside of that form. We call that a macro report. So for example, if I go to management and we go down to surveys, and let's select our qualification survey, for example, I can just hover over it and go right here to create report. And now it's going to import all of the form elements from this survey as report elements. So you can see that our data source is selected as qualification survey. We could choose a second series to kind of cross-reference this data against another series, but we'll leave that alone. And then now you can see it's selected all of the different form elements from our survey as report elements. So do you have experience with virtual reality? Are you prone to motion sickness, etc.? How many adults are living in your home? And from here, we can also add a filter. So for example, we could go to a custom filter and then start creating different filters here. We could also import any shared filters that we have I'll leave this alone for now as well. And then we go ahead and we pick our style. So we can have multiple different options. So we have some graphs here available to us. We also have our spreadsheets and other text elements available, things like file export. So very, very similar to how you build out your standard report element. We can then customize the results. So if I want to order by rank and reverse the result order and then show the data count, you can definitely do that. Again, very similar to how you can customize a report element if you're just building one out manually. And then we can save this to a new report, or we could add it on to an existing report. We'll click Submit. We'll title this Quali Macro Survey 2023. We can review all of our report elements. It's looking good. Of course, we can change the order of these if we'd like to. So we could move this up to the top. We can move it back down here if we needed. We will manage our data access options, so project managers can view and distribute, and observers can just view. We can add in our email distribution if we wanted to. I'm going to set this to refresh weekly. And then we'll click Submit. It'll go ahead and generate that report for us. It's going to pull in all that data, create those report elements. And in just a second, we should see the results of our qualification survey. There you go. You can see, who has experience with virtual reality consoles or systems, who's prone to motion sickness. So all of those elements are built out for us. This is a very, very easy way to build a report without having all of that knowledge of the report engine, so to speak. You already have all your data built in. You already have basically your report elements built out. All you need to do is click on Create a Report, configure your settings, and then there you go. You basically have a full report built out for you. Up next, let's go ahead and check out how we can export our dashboards as PDFs. Another way that we can get data out of Centercode is by exporting our dashboards. And we can actually use the different filter and view options for our dashboards and incorporate them into these PDFs. So for example, if I go to the top feedback dashboard here, and if I select a feature like controllers, and then I'll narrow that down to just ideas using our dashboard filter. And then if I expand all these items using feedback card mode, so you can see that all of these are expanded, we can see the different cards, images, the steps to reproduce, etc. I can then click on the print, save as PDF option here. And it's going to export everything as I see it. So you can see that we have our different feedback items here. Some are on one page, others are on a couple different pages. And then all I need to do is click print, and that's going to save it as a PDF. And then I can send that PDF to my stakeholders. I can do all sorts of things with it. This is especially good with something like the Delta Huddle dashboard. So if I reset all of my options here, and if we go to Delta Huddle, I could keep these items expanded. So I have all of my top items, praise, ideas, issues, etc. I click PDF. Once again, you can see that it's exporting every single panel that we have. If I scroll all the way down, you can see that those subpanels also stay right here. So we can see those top issues, those top ideas, and those top praise items. So another great way to export data out of Centercode. And once again, you can use the different filter and view options within your dashboards to customize exactly how that PDF is going to look. Now we've explored some of the different ways we can get data out of Centercode. Let's go ahead and talk about how we can officially close out a project. So as your project enters its closure phase and you're getting ready to wrap everything up, here's some key things that you might want to do. First off, hold a wrap-up meeting. This is where you bring together all your key stakeholders to cover the final state of the project and also go over any key feedback items. So any high-impact issues that still remain, any high-impact ideas, and also cover those praise items. Talk about the things that your testers really loved about the product. Once you're done with your wrap-up meeting, it's time to enter those final steps. So address any feedback items that you had highlighted in your wrap-up meeting. Change the status of issues and ideas previously added to your product backlog to will fix or will implement. This will go directly towards your test impact score. Distribute any final reports that you may have to your stakeholders. And then finally, once you've reached the end of your closure phase, go ahead and create a block notice for all participants. Leave a message saying thank you so much for your participation. The project is now over. And having that block notice there is going to prevent them from actually entering the project anymore. Now, Ted is also going to be operating during project closure as well. He's going to provide participants with a final performance report via email at the very beginning of the closure phase. So he'll give them a kind of wrap up of everything that's gone on, a nice little progress report stating how many items they submitted, activities completed, etc., and congratulate them on being a great tester. Now, once your project closure phase is over and all relevant feedback items have been delivered to your stakeholders, the test is officially complete. Thank you for completing the Centercode Team Edition training. For additional resources on Centercode, feel free to visit help.centercode.com or reach out to our wonderful support team using that little orange button at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And to stay up to date with everything new coming to Centercode, check out what'snew.centercode.com. I hope you really enjoyed this video series. It was a pleasure making them for you, and happy testing.